Hi, good afternoon. On today's presentation, we're going to be seeing several slides according to evidence number one. Uh, Basically, we're going to be starting with the first portion of the presentation. It's related to how we are seeing the TED Talks about Will Stephen. Basically, he gave us a very good opportunity to see how we should be doing the stuffs at the moment that we make a presentation in front of several people. The first is he tell us times at the beginning that the presentation is not related to nothing, but it's not related to nothing in terms of a subject and a specific, but it's telling us about everything about how we should be performing in front of several people, on how we are going to be in several situations, then we can adapt according to it. It's a lot about related to how we are expressing ourselves and how we are seeing the confidence between us and the person that is listening to, right? He's giving us several ideas to how interact with that regard. And basically, it's about telling us nothing but performing of everything which we should be doing to express ourselves in a best way, right? In a confident way. Uh, what is the important things about the elements and the visual stuffs, right? This is the second question. Basically, it related to how we are basically using images around ourselves and how we are interacting with the scenario or the things that we are having around ourselves to express the idea that we are looking for, right? Uh, he's actually telling us some stuff about showing some information, but it's not only how we show it, it's more a little about how we are interacting with her and how we are using that specific themes to our presentation at the end, right? Uh, he don't talk specifically about colors, but he really talks about how we generate impact on the people, right? How we are talking about the silence between one moment to another, how we are seeing the interaction between the people and how we are actually interacting with them at the moment we are making spaces between silence. We are asking the people to interact with us with several movements, with several elements that he already had prepared at the moment that he's putting it on the screen, right? Uh, he's making a very good use about the sentences and the words that he's using. You cannot see it, and he feels uncomfortable on the scenario. In even if he don't, he tell us a lot about it, and he's not talking about anything. But in any moment that he's performing, you can see that he's not actually nervous about what he's doing. He tell us that he could be nervous, but you never see it nervous in this scenario, right? So he have a lot of interaction according how they are expressed themselves on the screen, the confidence that he looks on all the moment, and the conclusion that the person stand on ourselves is that he's making us wasting time, but he's not wasting time itself. It's basically telling us how we can do it in a performing and how we can actually use the elements of graphics as a scenarios to put a point in place and performing in a real time uh, to actually could afford several situations in a presentation portion, right? Uh, Going to the second point, that is talk a little bit about something that is important to us or something that we have on our end to express or talk about. I want to talk about a little more about my work. Um, I'm a little more related to the supply chain portion. I basically work directly with everything that is related with suppliers and materials on demand management. uh, Talking about a little bit of this one, I'm trying to use several expressions on the screen to see. For example, you guys can see the control tower is looking on Flex. Basically, it's used to work with suppliers collaboration. it's more related on how we are putting the material on our end and how we are seeing the the material arriving to the distribution center and how we can put it in several places from Flex Regards. We normally use this for customers to make a flexibility on their end, not only to they put all the inventory that they have on our hands to try to make it easier at the moment that we management. Uh, Normally, at the moment that we are trying to disregard, we already earn a business from this customer. Uh, just to put an idea on your head, Flex is a contract manufacturer. It means that it's not belong or any of the designs that we are actually building, but it helps a lot uh, to the customers at the end because they could focus on the three stuffs that they make money for them. That is basically marketing, sales, and customer service, right? And all the part of the manufacturing is related for ourselves, right? It includes the supply chains, the manufacturing of the products, the hiring of the people, the acknowledgement of their products, right? At the beginning, not all the customers know how they want to implement this portion of manufacturing for an ideal process, right? Several companies they are actually having a very good implementation about new ideas and how to decrease the wastes and all that kind of stuff. Basically, my part of the business in this specific regard is see how they are building their supply chain or suppliers regard transportation and how we can see the demand interaction about the customer needs and not only the initial customer, the final customer at the end and how we are going to be receiving that portion. I'm located on the Juarez location, is on Juarez, Mexico, is in Chihuahua. It's basically at the north of the country. We even of that regard, we can have several kind of different methods to receive material. You can receive it by air, truck, by sea, not directly, obviously, but it comes when we are transporting how a very big bunch of material that it comes from sea, right? And normally everything that is intercontinental, it helps in that regard. And by train, when we are talking about uh, several containers of material that it's easier move it that way. For example, resins, that it comes in special containers because some of them are chemical gas. For example, is another example to that. Going a little about how we are managing on our end, it basically Flex helps us to receive the material, make a inventory storage, molding and assembly process, and make the final department of the shipping, right? Everything that is comes on our end goes in a truck, and through that it goes through a 3PL that it can go from to United States. That's basically the 85% of the material that we are producing, and at the end go to the end customer to try to fulfill what is doing on their end, right? On the method of how we align, how we are interacting with supply for customers and demand. Basically, once a week, we are receiving the requirements that we have from each customer. And we basically have a weekly cycle when we are receiving new orders and we are refreshing the requirements that it comes from. Could be distribution center, can be final customer. Some customers too, they are want to try to make their own forecast, right? Basically, they are interpreting how they are seeing the market and the sales could be inventory levels and a final distribution center. All that regards in going this basically cycle, a weekly cycle that we manage as SNOP, sales and operation planning, and it's the part of the demand management timeline. So basically, one day we receive the forecast. Normally, it comes on Tuesdays. We take like around 3 weeks to see that demand, make the integration to our system, see how are going to be the opportunities and shortages and stuff, and at the end, try to give a commit to customer at the end of these 5 days to try to make the cycle again once we start the next week, right? It's quite important for us and our customers just to assure that we're getting what they have at the latest portion for requirements and see how we interact with the supply chain and part of demand management. Basically, on the Juarez side, we have a very good opportunity to make the distribution to the US. Again, it's the 85% of our business in that regard. We are taking about 2 to 4 hours to make a custom clearance. We are CityPath certified, so it's quite easy for our end try to export material for all the US. Of course, we are talking about 1 to 2 days just to go to the blue zone. Um, we normally made shipments for all the West Coast and the East Coast through the United States. It's basically just to put a little graphic portion how untimely matter for the roadly standard guidance for the transportation and the standard transportation, right? That it's only travel about day, not at night. The material could be deported in an easy way and a selfie way. It's something that we actually do in a constant matter, right? Thank you very much for your time. It's quite important to me try to explain a little bit how we're working on our end and how we are um, working on Flex and what's the portion of the business that I manage from my company. And thank you so much for your time.